Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're going to continue reading with Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 23. Mad Ashraya Kathamrishtaha Shanvanti Kathayanti Cha Tapanti Vividhas Taptapa Naitan Madgata Chetasaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada. Engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they're always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. There are multifarious miseries in the material existence, those pertaining to the body and the mind, those imposed by other living entities, and those imposed by natural disturbances. So these three material miseries, the Adi-Deva, does anybody remember what are these?
Devik, Adi-Bhautik, and Adi, what is it? Adi-Devik, Adi-Bhautik, and Adi-Buddhatmik, like that you get from the body.
Adhyatmic.
Same. Adhyatmic.
Yeah, that's right. So each and every person at each and every moment is affected by either one of these miseries. If we try to just analyze, at every moment, we are inflicted by either one of these. But a sadhu is not disturbed by such miserable conditions. Why? Because his mind is always filled with Krishna consciousness. And thus, he does not like to talk about anything but the activities of the Lord. Maharaj Ambarish did not speak of anything but the pastimes of the Lord. Vachamshi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane, Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, Text 18. He engaged his words only in glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sadhus are always interested in hearing about the activities of the Lord or his devotees. Since they are filled with Krishna consciousness, they are forgetful of the material miseries. Ordinary conditioned souls, being forgetful of the activities of the Lord, are always full of anxieties and material tribulations. On the other hand, since the devotees always engage in the topics of the Lord, they are forgetful of the miseries of material existence. So we can see here the difference between a sadhu and an ordinary conditioned living entity, what we are attached to hearing and speaking about. If we are attached to hearing and speaking about the body and everything related to the body, then because the body is always inflicted by these three miseries, then we will automatically feel them, feel the pangs of it. But the sadhu, his consciousness is Krishna consciousness. He's constantly hearing and chanting about Krishna. And so because his consciousness is in Krishna, he does not feel the miseries. Although he may be inflicted by this, although he may be experiencing them, but he is not affected by them. He's not affected. His consciousness is in Krishna. So he does not feel the anxiety, the material tribulations. So that's the reason we are also advised, hey, hear and chant, because otherwise we are always, feeling more and more suffering. But the more and more we hear about the Lord, to that degree, we will forget our material miseries. We will forget it. And we'll remember Krishna. And Krishna is all blissful, all merciful, all loving, all kind. And then, of course, then we have to understand that because talking about the body and everything related to the body is on the material platform. Speaking about God, everything about God and his devotees is on the spiritual platform. So this is the way the sadhus are always on the transcendental platform. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes, yes, it is. Okay.
So, the ete sadhva sadvi sarva sangha vivarjitaha sangasteshva athate parthiyaha sangha dosha hara hite. O my mother, virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. Kapila Muni herein advises his mother Devahuti that if she wants to be free from material attachment, she should increase her attachment for the sadhus or devotees who are completely freed from all material attachment. In Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, verse 5, it is stated, who is qualified to enter into the kingdom of God? It is said there, Nirmana Moha Chitta Sangha Doshaha. This refers to one who is completely freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness. A person may be materially very rich, opulent, or respectable, but if he at all wants to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom, back home, back to Godhead, then he has to be freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness, because that is a false position. So depends again now what we get attached to. Now, if we get attached to a sadhu, a devotee, a pure devotee, then what happens is our path, we are on this path of going back home, back to Godhead, and automatically we will get detached from the material world, automatically, because attachment is such a thing. We place it in one place, right? So to the degree we are attached to the material world, to that degree we are not attached to the pure devotees. But if we transfer this attachment to the pure devotees, then to that degree, our attachment to the material automatically will reduce. So here Prabhupada is speaking of the pride, the false pride that we get. We have this false pride because we identify ourselves. I have this, I am so much educated, so I have so much knowledge. I have this particular social status. I have X amount of money. So we get so attached to these things. Now, if we are attached to these things, how will we be able to go to the spiritual world? Because our mind and our attachment is to this material things. It's basically whatever we are attached to, that's where we will be. So we just have to transfer our attachment from the material to the spiritual. And the easiest way to do that we are advised to do, is hear and chant. Hear and chant about Krishna and his pure devotees to transfer this attachment. The word moha used here means the false understanding that one is rich or poor. In this material world, the conception that one is very rich or very poor, or any such consciousness in connection with material existence, is false, because this body itself is false or temporary. So here, we think someone is very rich or very poor, but these are all false identifications. These are false identifications. Why? Because we are not the body. We are not the body. We are just inside the body. And all these rich or poor or educated or beautiful or ugly is all connected to the body, nothing to do with the soul. A pure soul who is prepared to be freed from this material entanglement must first of all be free from the association of the three modes of nature. So the three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. We conditioned souls are all under the control of these three modes of nature. By these three modes of nature, we, the conditioned souls, are controlled by the material energy. Material energy, she controls us by these three modes. So our consciousness at the present moment is polluted because of association with the three modes of nature. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, the same principle is stated. It is advised, Chita Sangha Doshaha. One should be freed from the contaminated association of the three modes of material nature. Here also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is confirmed. A pure devotee who's preparing to transfer himself to spiritual kingdom is also freed from the association of the three modes of material nature. We have to seek the association of such devotees. For this reason, we have begun the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. There are many mercantile, scientific, and other associations in human society to develop a particular type of education or consciousness. But there is no association which helps one to get free from all material association. If anyone has reached the stage where he must become free from this material contamination, then he has to seek the association of devotees, wherein Krishna consciousness is exclusively cultured. One can thereby become freed from all material association. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that there are so many associations, and now there are more and more. There's so many different associations depending on the particular interest that we have. If we have interest in cars, we can find out the association to be basically sharing what our sharing with others, like-minded people about our interests. So if someone is really interested in getting out of this material world, go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada said, for this reason, he has begun the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, so that like-minded persons can have the opportunity to come together, develop Krishna consciousness, associate with the pure devotees, and get free from the material association. Because a devotee is freed from all contaminated material association, he is not affected by the miseries of material existence. Even though he appears to be in the material world, he is not affected by the miseries of the material world. So this is a pure devotee. A pure devotee, he is he is still inside this material body, but because his consciousness is he's already Krishna conscious. So he is not affected by the body. He does not identify himself as the body anymore. He's already realized his position as a spirit soul, as a part and parcel of Krishna. And because he does not identify with the body anymore, so he is not affected by the miseries of the body. So even though he appears, okay, how is it possible? There is a very good example in the activities of the cat. The cat carries her kittens in her mouth. And when she kills a rat, she also carries the booty in her mouth. Thus, both are carried in the mouth of the cat, but they are in different conditions. The kitten feels comfort in the mouth of the mother, whereas the rat is carried in the mouth of the cat. The rat feels the blows of death. Similarly, those who are sadhavaha or devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the transcendental service of the Lord do not feel the contamination of material miseries, whereas those who are not devotees in Krishna consciousness actually feel the miseries of material existence. One should therefore give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of persons engaged in Krishna consciousness. And by such association, he will benefit in spiritual advancement. By their words and instructions, he will be able to cut off his attachment to material existence. So Prabhupada is giving the example of the cat. The cat is carrying the kittens, but the kittens feel very comfortable. They feel very safe when the cat is carrying them in her mouth. She also carries the rat, but the rat is very scared and he knows he's going to die. So that's the difference. That's the difference. He's saying that's how the pure devotees, even though they may be in the body, they do not feel the miseries of the body because their consciousness is already with Krishna. They're already Krishna conscious. And so Kapila Muni is saying that you seek out the association of such pure devotees. And what will happen is, because by their words and instructions, They will tell us these, they will give us these instructions, they will tell us these things, by following which we will be able to cut the attachment to material existence. By the words and instructions, he will be able to cut off his attachment to material existence. So that is the reason it is said to associate with the pure devotees. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we'll go on to the next verse then. Text 25. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hrit karna rasayana katha taj jo sanad asva apavarga vartamani shadaratir bhakti anukramishyati. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. So what happens in the association of pure devotees? The pure devotees of the Lord are always speaking and discussing and hearing the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. And so when we hear from the pure devotees, then our heart becomes satisfied, our ears are satisfied. That's the reason we should hear from the pure devotees, not the professional speakers of Bhagavatam. Professional speakers of Bhagavatam, what happens is their sound vibration, they are not vibrating Krishna's glories for glorification of Krishna, but professional speakers, they might have their own interest. They might have their own interest, to get name, fame, adoration, or some money, or, so then that's not going to be pleasing to the heart. So anyway, so when we hear from the pure devotees, what happens? We get knowledge, because that's what they are giving us. They're giving us knowledge of the truth, of the absolute truth. So when we are associating with the devotees, we are getting knowledge of the absolute truth. And by cultivating such knowledge, gradually, we will get liberated. Then we get liberated. Thereafter, he's freed. So by hearing already regularly from the pure devotees, we are on the path. We are walking the path of liberation. There comes a point there we will be freed, means already liberated. Get liberated, freed. Then attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. That's the reason it is said that pure devotional service begins from the platform of liberation. This is the platform of pure devotional service, which begins from the Brahmabhuta platform, from the platform of liberation. The process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service is described here. The first point is that one must seek the association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. So here the process, the complete process of Krishna consciousness or devotional service is described. First, associate with the pure devotees. They are Krishna conscious and they are engaged in devotional service. Because only by theoretical knowledge, we will not be able to free ourselves. We need to practically do it. We have to practically do things. So that's the reason it's called science of Krishna consciousness, to practically apply the knowledge. Science is practical application of knowledge. So this is the reason Prabhupada would say it's the science of Krishna consciousness, science of God consciousness. So first seek out the association of devotees, because only with the association of devotees can one understand the activities of the Lord. It is so difficult to understand the Lord's activities. We have been hearing in the prayers of Kunti Maharani. She's like, my dear Lord, you come, but then your activities are so bewildering. They're so bewildering. Like we have been reading the part where Mother Yashoda ties him up and he's crying. Now he's the absolute truth. He's God. Everyone's afraid of him. And here he's appearing as a baby and he's crying and rubbing his hands and his eyes are becoming black with the mascara and he's afraid of Mother Yashoda. What's happening? It's bewildering, So that's the reason always the pastimes of the Lord should be heard from the devotees so that we can understand them in the proper way, in the proper way, so that we do not misunderstand the Lord's pastimes to be material. So generally, people are convinced of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth because they do not associate with devotees. They cannot understand that the absolute truth can be a person and have personal activities. This is a very difficult subject matter, and unless one has personal understanding of the absolute truth, there is no meaning to devotion. So absolute truth is realized in three features: as the impersonal Brahman, as the Paramatma, and as the Supreme Lord. So generally, majority of the people, they understand the absolute truth to be impersonal. Why? Because not associating with devotees. But only when we associate with devotees can we understand the absolute truth in total. The absolute truth in full, not only partial, not only a partial understanding of the absolute truth. Service or devotion cannot be offered to anything impersonal. Service must be offered to a person. So like the impersonal understanding of Krishna, for example, Krishna says, I'm the taste and water, I'm the light of the sun and moon, I'm the fragrance of the earth. So how do we offer devotion there? How? Krishna is impersonal also, but he is personal also. This is the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Lord. We put a restriction on God that no, you cannot do this. Why you cannot do this? He's God. Why he cannot do it? No, you should be impersonal. But why? Why can we put limitations on God? So service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literature wherein the activities of the Lord are described. They think that these activities are fictional, manufactured stories because spiritual life is not explained to them in the proper mood. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees. And by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, the path to liberation is open and he is freed. Here, the path to liberation is open. We all want to get liberated. That's the reason we are understanding, hey, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Okay, but how do I actually be situated on the platform of the soul? I still continue to think I'm the body. I'm not still feeling I'm the soul. What's happening? So the easy process, the devotional service process is easy to get liberation. How? We just have to try to understand that the activities of the Lord are transcendental. The activities of the Lord are not material. They are transcendental. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. He says that just try to understand the transcendental nature of my activities and you will get liberated. He's saying you just focus on this and you will get liberation. So this is what with the devotees, in the association of devotees, we try to do this. One who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed, and his attraction for association with the Lord and the devotees increases. Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotee who makes this association develops the consciousness for rendering service to the Lord, and then being situated in the transcendental position of devotional service, he gradually becomes perfect. So what happens? Just by associating with pure devotees, we hear from them. We hear. What happens? We are getting knowledge. We are getting knowledge of the transcendental position of the Supreme Lord. We continue to hear this. And by hearing continuously, we get this attraction for the Supreme Lord and we get fixed. And then what happens? It increases more and more to the point that we truly understand, hey, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. That is the transcendental position. And in the transcendental position, one continues to render service to the Lord because he's already has full knowledge of the absolute truth. He's realized the absolute truth. And so gradually he becomes perfect. Is that okay?
Yes.
So we can see that how we can get perfection simply by associating with pure devotees, by hearing and chanting in the association of pure devotees, we can get the highest perfection.
Yeah, I think that's why also the association of devotee is considered number one, like the first priority, that the association should be there. We should try to associate.
Yes. Association with devotees, hearing and chanting in the association of devotees. That is what means association with devotees, with hearing and chanting. Yeah.
At least that way your mind will not get contaminated, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Less contaminated. Yeah.
Yes. So that because the idea, what has happened is why we are here in the material world. What is keeping us here in the material world? Who is keeping us here in the material world?
Our own desires.
Yeah.
That's
False
right.
ego. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm.
Right. Our own attachment is keeping us here. Nothing else is keeping us here. You know, there are no jail, there are no bars. You know, like how in the prison house, there are those, what do you call those iron bars? It's encaged and you can't get out. There is no like that in the material world. No need for it. We are staying here willfully. By our will, we are staying here because of our attachment, of our false ego, by our desire. When we associate with devotees, we hear and chant in the association of devotees, our desire changes. Then we get, there is the spiritual world. Oh, I can go back home, back to Godhead. Oh, there is the absolute truth. Really, I don't even know what's the absolute truth. Let me try to find out what's the absolute truth. I thought only this life is truth. No, this is relative truth. There's something called absolute truth. Oh, then gradually, you know, our attachment changes. So, but it is a, what do you say? It's a guaranteed process. It has to happen. It will happen. It's a science. That's the reason it's science. It's not that, oh, it may happen, may not happen. Not like you play roulette or something, or it may or may not. No, it has to happen. If one takes up the process properly, it will happen if one is doing it properly. And if it's not happening, we have to understand, hey, what am I not doing properly? You know, what is it? Yeah. So thank you so much for listening and joining in.
Thank you.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
I just want to add one thing to the point that you mentioned, that we are already in the jail and then we don't stop behaving like, notorious ways. We still um, criticize others and still, though we are in jail, और उसके बाद भी हमारा जो behavior है, that is still like those people, we don't want, we are here to get reformed, but we are not worrying about that. We are getting more and more criminalized in our own ways. And we are not understanding that we are in this jail. We have to get reformed. We have to get better. No, but I want to get more criminalized. How is it possible? I want to become the biggest criminal. I'm in the jail. I have to be number one, because this is the material world. This is like a jail. We are here to get reformed. Like anybody who goes to a jail, he has to get reformed. But no, we are proudly being more criminalized on purpose. So this was
true.
very, very beautiful thing written in one of the books. I'm forgetting where, but yes, in one of the.
So true. Yes, thank you for sharing. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so we continue to hear and chant. Let me get out of here as soon as possible.
And they also
Soon as
said
possible.
that hearing and chanting, sometimes we think, we have doubts and we think that पता नहीं मैं अच्छे से कर रही हूँ, नहीं मिलेगा. अरे जब भगवान ने अजामिल को, उसने तो अपने पुत्र को, you are a devotee. He wasn't a devotee for whole life. He did not chant. He just chanted the name of Narayan, and that was his son name. But we as a devotee, we are trying to chant Radha and Krishna together, who exist in Golok Vrindavan. And we are not chanting to our son or our daughter or anybody. We are chanting to Krishna, absolute truth himself. This is lecture of Srimad Amrendra Prabhu, very recent lecture, 13 hours ago. So that was this, what he mentioned. He compared that 5 things, that why not you will get a Jamil who had no intention. He just called out to his son. You are calling out to Supreme Lord, absolute Lord. And you're calling out to Radharani and Krishna together, who exist in Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. And he called out to Narayan alone, who exists in Vaikuntha. So don't you have faith that you will get? And he had no faith. And he never called out throughout his life. You're calling out throughout your life. So won't Krishna look after you? Have faith. He will look after you. And keep chanting. Doesn't matter if you're not chanting nicely, doesn't matter. This is, you don't know the power of these names. We don't know the power. There was this one Muslim who called out at the time of dying. He called Har Ram, Har Ram. And then he just called out Har Ram, and that's abominable. That means the most abominable person. And then he got liberated. And the Vishnu Dutas came and they took him. Why? And he said, why are you taking me? I called out Har Ram. He said, no, but our Lord is so merciful that because there is Ram. He heard, hey Ram, hey Ram. So why don't we, and we shouldn't be wasting our time. We don't know what will happen any moment. So we have got this life to chant more and more.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, we have to have faith, chant. Whether faith, no faith, just chant.
Just chant.
You know, faith, no faith, whatever, just chant. Why? Because that is the Kali Yuga Dharma. Kali Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. And the chanting of the holy name, even Lord Jesus Christ, he says, O Lord, thou art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy will be done on earth. And what's that? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, as it is in heaven. So by chanting the names, chanting of the names is glorified in all the religions and all the paths. Chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Guru Nanak Ji chant the holy name. Everyone, all the devotees, they profess chanting the names of the Lord. You know, that's the dharma for this age.
And
Chanting.
he also mentioned one more very important thing. He said that we have 16 layers. Our body is covered by 16 layers. The senses, like, the knowledge acquiring, the action senses, our own senses and mind. So this name, the Hare Krishna mantra, has 16 names in it. And our body is covered by 16 layers. So this is the most appropriate mantra for Kali Yuga. It will tear away all the 16 layers, and then it will connect you to Krishna. You need to get above them. So by constantly chanting these 16 names, yes, that makes impact on those 16 layers, and that is also the scientific, he said.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So then, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, you just continue chanting. You have faith, no faith, you chant. You're chanting pure, you're chanting without any attention, you just chant. You don't want to chant, you don't have a taste, doesn't matter. Just chant. Whatever condition you're in, just chant. So thank you. Yes, thank you for again reminding us of this. So on that, we'll stop here for today. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.